Okay, we're live. Oh, what a week. So, yeah, we had some issues about uploading videos. So, I finally did get the one video about the Diamondback um, rifle up. And I had to break it in two, and it took me, I don't know how many attempts, but I got it done uh, and up here. So I got that finished. And generally, we usually got some viewers by now. I wonder what's going on. I ain't got my time running. This isn't running. Oh, got a viewer. Okay. 3. All right, so we got some people here. Usually it shows the time that isn't showing, so I don't know if something's wrong with the upload altogether or what. But yeah, I've had some internet issues here, which are coming problematic, I guess. But had a lot going on, trying to get some more AR builds done, but the weather has been terrible. I've been bound to the house for the past about 3 weeks now. Uh, Even though we didn't get hit with snow or anything that second time around after the second heavy snowfall, um, it has just been so cold. I can't do any work in the garage. I haven't gone out. I haven't been to the gun range in weeks and haven't gotten anything done. Now, with the issue with the uploading, and I hope this is working properly, my internet service provider, I guess, has screwed up everything, and I'm not being able to upload videos or nothing. I can upload them to Rumble. Uh, one of them took 24 hours to upload, but I've had several videos upload to Rumble. Something about Rumble, if it times out, Rumble don't disconnect it. Okay. It just takes longer and forever to get it done. Uh, but a lot of the guys won't go to Rumble because it's difficult to use on the phone and all this other stuff and blah, blah, blah. So I don't know. I guess we'll see. But I got a lot of things planned. Like I said in that little video that I happened to get up there, I got some black powder guns that I'd like to shoot. And I'm thinking of taking care of that this, when the weather breaks. I've got a ton of my ARs and more retro guns to work with, and I'm expending tons of 5.56 ammo. It adds up when you're running through several guns, 60 rounds here and there. Um, but to reload it, and that's not counting the brass. I got a huge giant box of brass I've accumulated that's reloadable. But I just did a quick calculation. Even with conservative estimates, uh, you can find some ammo at 48. Uh, and some other stuff, just slightly under 50 cents a round. Okay, for 55 gauge. Oh, really? Rumble's a pain in the ass. I upload stuff easily. They used to be connected. It used to be I had it set up. Anything I uploaded to YouTube would go over to Rumble. Okay. But YouTube disconnected that. So what I do is like I take whenever I upload something to YouTube, I got a file folder with them, and then I'll just upload a version of them to Rumble. And that way, if YouTube cuts the videos or takes them out, they still exist somewhere on Rumble. I wish I did that years ago. I wish I did that with the, well, I don't know. I see all of them. Patreon, everybody has a thing about making ghost guns. That's the one clause they all have. Okay, uh, is creating or making firearms or modifying them. Morning. So I don't know. See, that's what I said. I mean, this problem I had, I uploaded in one day. I uploaded 5 videos, whole week's video at the highest, whatever the hell, refresh rate or whatever, and they all went up without a hitch before this friggin' snowstorm hit. Okay. During the snowstorm, forget it. You know, the past 2-3 weeks, I even did a check. You know, I had less than 1 on the upload megabytes per second or something. You know, so it's on the server's end because it's even slow going on to Rumble, which Rumble I never really had any trouble with. Now, let me think. What was that? Oh, I was talking about 5.6 ammo. Okay, going with 55 grain and the cheapest bullets. And doing conservative, you know, you're looking at 46 cents a round, not counting the brass to reload it. You know, depending on what bullets and who you buy them from also makes a big difference in the end. But I mean, you know, to use up my components and primers, which are, I've seen them go down to 58, 60, yeah, 58 or something, 1,000. But then again, you gotta buy them through the mail and you gotta pay the hazmat fee, which just about, you know, thing, it just about, it changes the price unless you buy 10,000 primers or something and then spread that cost out over each one. Ghost gun videos. Well, the first part of it, if you put the ads in, you're a YouTube partner and you're getting money from Google, like I do every month, because I have the ads. I'm a partner, so I'm getting money. Okay, anyone who has ads on their videos, you're getting something from Google. Okay, so this is where they really get touchy about saying the wrong thing for me to say, you know, hey, you know, this pen is great and this is from this company and it costs X amount of dollars and I endorse you buying this. Okay, if I do that, especially a gun product, gun accessories, or anything like that, if I phrase that to where I tell you the price, who's selling it, or what website to go to, like say, hey, go to this website and they got this on sale, you know, PSA, Battlehawk Armory, whatever the hell. I say, go there, get this, it's a deal. They nail me. I'm not supposed to say that. Or that's why I got to say units, C notes, ducats, whatever the hell, you know. What did they use on Star Trek? Credits? Some kind of regenerative credits or whatever the hell, star credits. Yeah, you can't do that. If you're not taking an ad, they kind of slip out. And I don't know how they get caught or flagged. Okay, yeah, a lot of these videos that stayed on for a long time, you don't see ads. Number one, that's how they kind of don't get. And like you said, they're too small. But any video you leave, I've been doing this since 2011, and even the most simplest video on there after all them years accumulates thousands and thousands of views. Okay. So I don't know. And then like you said, yes, your channel, they did send me a email or something telling me that my channel is in the top 20% of all YouTube channels for frequency of posting content. Okay, and they said we've taken notice. So I don't know if I'm on a list or whatever now. But they didn't give me a plaque or an award to hang on a wall or nothing like that. They told me I'm in the top 20% of people who post the most content on the website. And they said, we've taken notice of it. So, you know, they didn't give me nothing for it. They just sent me a nice email telling me that. So I'd like to get back to it. I like getting at least one posting up a day, but I've been, you know, I had that 5 or 6 racked up. And once I ran out of the videos I uploaded for the storm, I kind of went dry for a whole week. I mean, I tried loading, I had to break this one about the Diamondback. Guy had a Diamondback AR, which is a little bit nicer than the 400 unit ones. Okay. You know, like your Radical Firearms, I keep forgetting the name of that, but those guns still are available for about that price, in that price range. Okay. And even I seen a bunch of Anderson lowers that they were selling for almost nothing. So, you know, some of that stuff's still there. But this Diamondback is made a bit better, and it's got a higher price tag. It's, I think, $750 is the MSRP on this particular model. I looked it up on our website. And the guy that, you know, had it said that's about what he paid for that firearm. Okay, so this wasn't a low end buy, and it was a couple years ago. I think it's before all this shit started happening. Nobody noticed, and probably the reason he got a deal on it, it was California compliant. Okay, if you watch the video, the second half shows you how you do the, I call it the California compliant manual of arms. And what he wanted, because what you got to do, there's some kind of thing with the magazine release. You can stick a magazine up into the well with the gun closed. Okay. There's some kind of device, or the way this is set up, you can't remove the magazine, and that's why the rear takedown pin is on a ring. You got to yank it. Let me get this out of the way. You got to yank it, break the action, then you can push the mag release, take the mag out, close the gun, and then reload another magazine. And I didn't quite understand how it worked, and all you had to do was pull that thing out, like the mag release, and I said, I'll just put the standard parts in. But somebody went and wobbled out the screw on the back. I don't know if there was a hex in there, or if they drilled it out or something. And so I had to make a video. It's on Rumble. I'll put a link to it. And I don't show you because all I did was put it on in the block that holds the lower, and tried going with a carbide drill, and it cut a little, and then I just put it in reverse, a little electric drill motor, and cocked it to where the drill caught, spun it in reverse, and it pulled the screw out. The whole thing shot out, and just put another one in there for just a standard mag release. Case closed. But looking at this gun, it's a little bit nicer. The handguard has tabs that lock into the receiver. Actually, the receiver is not the standard GI style. It's kind of sculpted. It's a casting, but it's shaped and it's different. And, you know, it's, I guess, proprietary. It's a nicer lower receiver with a solid trigger guard that kind of is generous and down. It's a nice looking gun, but they do have a 700 to, and some of these variations of this Diamondback rifle go up to a K or more. Okay, but it has Magpul furniture, the grip and the stock. I didn't realize that they're sliding stock. You got the lever like a normal one, and then there's a lock. You push the lock and it tightens that stock right down. It's pretty nice. I think those things are 80, 100 beans, you know. So it is a nicer gun, but I got to try to return it here. Not really. I'm not quite sure. I believe they're doing something or upgrading something to the servers, and it's still sticky and a pain in the ass. But I haven't been making any videos either. I got to get some range time in, and I got to have the weather heat up. So if any, I can just do things in the garage, you know. Yeah, you see, it's strange because there's something in the wording. Because like whenever I get a new bullet mold, you know, I'll cast up a bunch of bullets, and I tell my members and that, you know, if you want some, whatever, you know, that's what I was doing. And some of these, I bought these molds 2, 3 years ago, and YouTube really didn't give a damn. Well, that's where I got suspended for one of them. That I said, you know, I'm going to cast up. I'm going to have a good day casting. I'll have some extra one samples. You know, you guys contact me, and then boom. You know, I really haven't sent any samples. I wasn't currently doing it. It was something I did 2, 3 years ago, or even more, 4. And then all of a sudden, I get slammed for it. So I just all the casting videos I had. For some reason, if I make them members only, where you got to pay to see them, then the BS stops, because it's like you're not supposed to be showing videos making ammo. And for some reason, casting bullets is considered making ammo, even though my members get reloading videos where I show you basically all I'm doing is with a lot of the standard stuff where you're not modifying the brass or nothing, is I'm just giving load data and some tips on how to refine your reloading. And they don't do anything about that. And I do actually assemble and make ammo. So, yeah, I don't know how the hell I do that. Yeah, all right. Getting some folks here. Oh, really? I can't pull it out, but I picked that up out of a bunch of stuff. They had a bunch of brass guns. This guy, I guess he bought them at auction. The brass ones, you know, the Colt split receiver ones. That one there, I forget. I looked up the numbers. It's 70s or 80s manufactured, you know, and it doesn't look like, you know, I checked the frame out. It's not to where the cylinder drove back and stretched the frame. That gun is heavy, heavier than hell. Okay. And somebody fired it, but I had to take it out and shoot it. I don't know what the hell I'm gonna end up doing with it. I don't think I got a Remington New Army in 30. I got them in 44. I had two of them. I sold the short barrel one to somebody, and I had to modify them to get them Ayers Gone original bullets to fit in there, the conical ones. But this one looks like it's, it was made like the original with the huge loading area in there, unless somebody modified the thing themselves. I don't know. But yeah, I've got to get out and shoot that. I got that 54 Hawk, and I got on that deal helping that guy out with the black powder guns. I'd like to shoot that. I've shot some 50 cals, but I don't want one like Jeremiah Johnson. They say it's a 50 cal, but it was a 54 caliber Hawken was the bar gun, knocked the grizz off his paws. I'd be interested to shoot. That's one that I wanted back when I was a teenager and I fooled around a little bit with black powder. I always wanted a Hawken half stock, so I got one. Yeah, I thought about it. I wanted to get the Russian model, but in 44 Russian. They made them in all these calibers, but they stopped because they either use 45 long Colt. Now all the new production is 45 long Colt, be it a Schofield, be it the Russian is not in 44 Russian anymore. It's 44 special. I guess 44 special and 44 Russian are the friggin' same, except I think the 44 special is a little bit longer. But yeah, Schofields are cool. But I don't know. Those firearms are expensive. And then, unless you got somebody that's really into the old Western, I don't know, the Captain Ball revolvers, they always somewhat sell. They kind of didn't hold their value, but now I think a lot of people are into them because of restrictive handgun laws, and they are fun to shoot if you just want to go out and fool around and shoot, without all the hassles of having an actual firearm. Uh, they are fun. I mean, I got an extensive collection I spent I don't know how many years. I got the Walker. I got rid of the Patterson Texas Ranger thing because it was fun to shoot and everything, but them repo Pattersons they stopped making are worth more or getting, they're all worth over a K. All right. And even I bought, because the company that sold the Spencers and Rogers revolver, the headquarters was in Bag Square in Utica, and the factory that made them was in Willowvale, where if you drive out of Utica up through New Hartford and the top of a hill, after you go considerable distance, a few miles, you're in Willowvale, and that's where the actual factory that made these revolvers was. But the office was in Utica, and that's why the top of the gun says Utica, New York on it. And actually, that's a pretty damn neat revolver. It's even better than the Remington New Army, and that thing was expensive when I bought it way back in the 80s. I think I paid 3 bills for a little over. So it was quite expensive. And I forget who made them. I don't know if they're Italian made or not. But they stopped making those. And those guns have increased in value. And they're, most of them are used like mine. It's still in the box. It looks nice. Ain't got no rust on it. It's used, but I can sell it probably for double what I paid for it quite easily. And the Star, I don't know if they still make the Star. They had the single action and the double action Stars. Those are cool. Or them crazy, my friend wanted one of those. Oh, what are they? It's the 8-shot with the 20 gauge barrel on there. I can't think of the name. Lamat, the Lamat revolvers. All of them go for well over K. I think they still make them, but even if you find one used or an older one, they go for a lot of money. My buddy wanted one of them, but he never ponied up. Oh, what was that? No, that was 40 years ago. I bought it. I forget when they stopped making the Spencers and Rogers uh, revolvers. And Taylor's and Company are just selling Italian-made guns. All right. Morning. So yeah, I'm at a standstill with this. I had to split my video in two, got it up. I got 225 views on the one I finally got up, because what I did is I just made a quick video and I put it on the lowest refresh rate and made sure it was short, 5 minutes, and that uploaded. I don't know if it times out and YouTube is so busy that we stream it kicks it off or something. So yeah, I mean it's a pain, because I got another gun, and also I went and bought a barrel up from Battlehawk Armory. Supposedly it was, and it is an Aero Precision. So an Aero Precision, their stuff's always a tad bit expensive. So they had this ad, hey, we got a sale. We got a barrel upper, flat top with a up front sight post. I think it's 16-inch barrel with a mid-length gas system with the post. So I have an A2 style clamp on rear sight. I had a bunch of spare parts. I said, well, what the hell, I'll grab this upper, because PSA, they had a bunch of them mid-lengths. They were going for, without the bolt carrier group and a handle, they were going for 1.25. I got this for $195, and it's Aero Precision. So I figured, that's a little bit better quality or something. Okay, so I got it, and it come out to 230 or something with the shipping, handling, tax, everything else. So I said, I wonder what kind of quality is. So this thing arrives. I mean, it comes in a real nice box, styrofoam, and and they said it had an MSRP of 4 beans, and I'm like, oh, so I got it about half price. So I said, okay. Well, I get the thing, I'm looking at it, and it's not marked. I mean, it's got the round handguards, a mid-length gas system, which I like, because I found a lot of the Bear Creeks that, they got a real, and the Bear Creek, you can get something similar to that, maybe not with the front sight post. They did have some. They do have a model with it. They do pin military style front sight post on, but they're usually sold out. But I got that side charging handle, the whole upper with the bulk carrier group and all the other fun stuff, for like, that was 170. Okay, for the whole 9 yards, and slap it on one of them PSA lowers, and you're ready to roll. Okay. No, it didn't have. Mine didn't have the front sight, but all of those have the carbine length gas system and they're overgassed. So you got to go and change out the buffer and it should work. That's why I want to go test it out. I changed out the buffer in mine. The other one was for my buddy, the one with the wide, he wanted that wide chamber or whatever, and he was fairly insistent. So he's got that one. He went out with it a couple of weeks ago or 3 weeks ago. I haven't heard from him. I'll go look for him up the damn Veterans Post, see if he's there. I haven't heard, but he hasn't called and complained, so I don't know if he shot it yet or if he's happy or who the hell knows. He was abducted by aliens. A lot of things can happen. Yeah. So yeah, I found out even buying that, and I had a bolt carrier group I got from PSA on a deal. I had a spare charging handle, and I got the lower. But then when I went and priced it out and added up all the components, and the little rear clamp on rear sight thing's $30 or something on Amazon. It come out the 5C notes. So this scrounge up parts gun costs more than I was getting complete brand name ARs on sale last year for 400 units. And this thing ended up costing me $5, where I was getting them for $4 and adding, I think the most I paid for one of them was $435, adding up all the stuff. Now that was in my hand delivered, was getting them for around $4. So even putting together one, what supposedly I'll do a video on it and show you. I don't know about the quality of this because the barrel's not marked with a twist rate. There's not a twist rate on a label on the box. And I went back to the website. There's not a twist rate on the barrel. And there's no markings whatsoever on the barrel. The upper receiver has the symbols and is a quality deal and it's put together good. It's a good upper. The hand guards are just the round ones and that, with a birdcage flash hider on it. And put a bayonet on it. I mean, it's nice. That's my favorite build style if I'm going to go outside or build a carbine. I used to like 18 inches, but they're hard to get. Everyone makes them 16 inches. But 16-inch barrel with a mid-length gas system and collapsible stock lower on just a mil-spec receiver, to me, is an excellent carbine. And you can put either carry handle, A2 sight, whatever, or you can put some sort of thing on a riser block for an optic. I ain't too fond of the optics because they can be broken when you're chunking the gun around. I kind of like the iron sights on the guns, the A2 sights. I ain't going to shoot past 200 yards with the damn things anyway, so, Single action army, yes, I do. I got a Uberti Cattleman and 45 long Colt. And I had it with the 7.5-inch barrel. I didn't get the military one. They didn't have that in stock at the time. It was when Gander Mountain was still open. And when I went in there, they had a whole assortment of them, the Cattleman. And it's the same as what the cavalry was issued in the 1870s, 1880s, 7.5-inch barrel. The one thing I can say is those guns are made like the originals. They're a hell of a lot lighter. The frame is thinner. They're an exact copy of the original guns. Where if you pick up a Ruger Viscero or something, the thing weighs twice as much. That's why you have to load them guns like they were, it's like the 1873s. The 1873s that the Italians make are exact copies of 1873. Um, and even with steel receivers, if you put a much more powerful cartridge in there, it'll screw them up. They're not a strong action, and people don't realize this. Like this thing, I load them uh, 45 Colts with Trail Boss is what I made a load. And really, them bullets don't go past, they're going about 900 feet per second. But it is an accurate, fun shooting revolver. My wife shoots that damn giant thing all the time, loves it. And you can hit what the hell you're shooting at, you know, because you can take an old 45 long Colt and you can load it up to friggin' 44 Magnum charges if you wanted. Okay. But see that's what happens is people don't realize these old Western guns, they weren't long range weapons, like the 73s and that. And you're talking maybe 200 yards or something. It's like that Spencer I had, and that was in 4440. And we had that running and that had the brass frame, but I didn't load that up. And that's a toggle action. And me and my nephew would shoot that, and you could see the bullet going out to 100. You could actually see the bullet traveling. It was going so slow, but it was accurate as hell. Okay, you just didn't want to load that up to something that'd go in a more modern gun, or a heavier built gun. And that's the thing about what a lot of these people get into these old Western guns. And I've heard stories of people buying originals and going to these cowboy action shoots, and $4,000 or $5,000 worth of antique gun just explodes. You know, uh, I haven't done a lot of work with the old Western stuff. They're fun if you're into guns from that period or old guns. Ain't nothing wrong with it. They're fun to shoot, but even the modern replicas, they are built. Even with modern steel and that, those guns were not built to take high pressure. As simple as that. Even if you make a modern repro one. Yeah. But yes, single action army. It's had one of them. What the hell else I have in them old guns? Yeah, it's a four. I don't think that's a four. Well, yeah, 4x24 power. I got that thing. It's made in China. I think I only paid 100. A C note for it. Not even that. The one that Brownell sells is 3.5. Okay, and it looks identical to the thing I got. You know, yeah, but I haven't, like I said, I have not been out anywhere in with these storms in almost a month now. Okay, 2 weeks and then up into January there, um, and it's just too cold, and I couldn't drive to the range because the range is off the main road, and with the snow and that, God only knows what's up in there. I don't even know if I could access the grounds. But hopefully this week I'll get out and get some shooting done. I have to go, and I'm getting that crazy ass. Finally got the Caltech P57. I mean, it's been a year, but I got it down at a price where I wanted it. And I found it by accident, so that was an impulse buy. And I guess James Reeves just did a video where he's got the little 380 model that's new. He was testing them. And that gun's another gun. All of these Kel-Tec guns, a lot of controversy. It was the P15 is the 9mm I tested. People hated that gun. When it first come out, the friggin' thing would rattle apart, fall apart, and there's two versions. There's the inexpensive version, and then there's another one that's a few C notes higher that, I don't know, was made out of solid metal or something. And I've seen where them things didn't work. I got the thing for, $2.25. Okay, I bought that 9. And I shoot it, I can hit with it. The texture of the grips is a little rough for a lot of people. A lot of people don't like the texture on the grips. But to me, that gun's a keeper. Okay, I like it. And it's worked flawlessly. For what I did, for what I tested with it. All right, the Rough Rider. People, I know a couple people who bought them. They like those pistols an awful lot, and they're not that expensive. That is a good gun. A friend of mine got one. Him and his nephew take his nephew out and shoot it. They love it. Yeah, see, this thing's made in China. Now, if it's still made in Japan, I guess that's the original company. They say it's the original company, and all that other stuff. And I don't know. I got one for the C note, and I'll see what it shoots. And the thing is, even when I fooled with them in the past, the way that you clamp that scope onto the carry handle, that is not the most solid friggin' way of doing it. That whole system and the way they mount the scope, it's just a little clamp and a nut, and you lock it. Because there were complaints, these people, oh, it loses zero, this thing. Yeah, the thing's gonna move around. It's not very secure. But we'll see. I'll take it out on that A1 I built, the rifle. I'll see what the hell it does. I used to shoot my 38, my 357 Magnum all the time. Cast leads out of a 357 pump carbine. I never really had a carbine of any type, a lever or a pump and 357 Magnum. It was all in revolvers. I used to when I had like several of them years ago. I always used that. The Keith semi-wad cutter, 158 grain out of a Lyman bullet mold with a gas check was the load I used. And now when I load them up, my 38s, I don't use the gas check bullet no more. But my 357 Magnum, I still use that. And I think I load it. I think I got a load blue dot with that I really like. And that's what I shoot out of my 6-inch barrel. I only got a 6-inch barrel, 357 Magnum. I sold my 4 inches and stuff over the years. Haven't done a lot of revolver shooting. I got into all the old antique guns, and that's what I was doing on the channel, and I'm making the ammo for them. Until now, that's just a royal pain because people don't like paying $5 a round for custom loaded ammo. So kind of got out of that. Got into the retro stuff. Kind of like that. Gonna do some reloading. Gonna load a 77 grain bullet in the 5.56 because I got that powder I bought, that 15.5 reloader. I found a load that I could load in that. I did the 22 250 for my buddy, and come out with a real nice load with that powder. But I don't have a 22 250, you know. But that was interesting. I learned a lot from reloading that cartridge. I learned a lot about the um, powder, and it's kind of weird. Morning. Did they even make SR 4756? You're going with 160. What do they weigh? See, my 158 grain Keith semi-wide cutters, I cast them out of linotype. So they're a bit lighter. They're more down to one and a half. And lino reacts a little different. That was when I used to get good stuff. Now you can't find good lead, good lino, good nothing. You have to pay an awful lot of money from one of them companies. I did find their hardball out of that place in California. Did cast a good bullet, but it's rather expensive for their alloy. Their alloy is good, makes a nice bullet, but it's excruciatingly expensive. I haven't cast a bullet when my hand is shot. I can't hold the mold steady to line them up for a decent pour. You know, so I haven't cast any bullets yet. I either have to have somebody cast them for me or something. I may have to give all that up. WW metal. Wheel weight. Yeah, I don't use that because I don't know what they make them out of. I used to get. I had a bunch of them. They come out in a weird kind of creamy colored or something. They did cast a bullet. I've shot a lot of bullets. They used to leave a little white residue in the bore, so I gave up on a wheel weight. So that was over 15 years ago. Last time I melted any wheel weights. Yeah, it's discontinued. Yeah, I mean that's some of it. I have some of the SR for duping out the 4570 black powder loads. So I got a stash, but I bought. The guy had a case of 1 pounders. I think I got 7 of them out of the ones out of the store. I went and bought 3 on the shelf. I went back a month later. There were 4 more. I took them all, and that was it. They stopped making them. That was a good powder. I forget what it was. One of the SRs. They were a damn good powder. Well, all that Herco, all that other stuff was supposed to mimic black powder, and nobody used it much anymore. And then everybody got into the cowboy action. They all went into, oh, what the hell is this stuff there? Trail Boss. And hey, how's it going, Johnny Mars? I'll tell you in a second. SR 4759. That's what it was. Yep, SR 4759. You're right. Still got about 4 or 5 pounds of that. I have to start use. That's what I think I'm going to do this year. I mean, it's all going to hell. Everybody's starting. That's another thing. We should have a discussion about gun laws. I guess Virginia just got to where. See, if I was traveling with my concealed carry, if I drove up the coast towards home, I was good with reciprocity with the concealed carry, in all the states except Rhode Island and New York. Okay. But Pennsylvania, Virginia, all the ones I went through, Tennessee, all this other stuff, Georgia, South Carolina, you got no issues. Okay. Florida too. Okay. So basically, I can keep a pistol in the vehicle and not break any laws traveling through all these states. You know, but now I guess Virginia's gone totally insane with what they're doing. Uh, and state bans, AR bans, now ammunition. Ammunition, see, this is when we talk about reloading. This is what I believe it was backdoor gun control. They knew this is coming, and everybody asked me, hey, why can't I get IMR powders? And, like he's saying right here, these here were discontinued. There was a guy when 300 Blackout come out and they're shooting 220 grain bullets out of it. He loved this powder for that 300 Blackout load. And this is where it was right before they discontinued it. All these 300 Blackout shooters, and in this state we can get suppressors and stuff fairly easily. And a lot of guys were building pistols or SBRs with suppressors. Actually, my neighbor had a bolt action rifle of some sort in 300 Blackout with a scope on it that he went and got the suppressor for it for coyote hunting, because there was actually at one point in the state, it could still be, I don't hunt, but there was a bounty on coyotes. Okay. And he had this rig specially made up to go. And I know I loaded a bunch of 5.56 ammo for a guy that's what they do. Him and his friends go coyote hunting with AR-15s. And I made him a 50 grain jacketed hollow point. I think I made him about 300 rounds of that stuff. And him and his buddies, never heard nothing from him, but I guess they bought it up and away they went. But yeah, it's getting tough. They're talking about federally doing ammo bans where you can't get it through the mail anymore. I don't know if that'll carry or not. Then you have to register it. And I think if they're going to choke off ammo, that's why they've been backdoor ways increasing the cost of all the reloading supplies. Because like I said, I just calculated it costs as much for me, and that's excluding the cost of the case. Okay, it costs as much for me to reload 5.56 as if I go to the store and purchase it, the same price. Okay, and calculating that price now, anytime I buy components, I have to pay shipping and handling, and I have to pay sales tax. So same as going buying a box of shells for 46 cents a piece, same deal. So reloading does not save you money. The only thing that happens if they totally get control, like up in New York, my buddy told me, you go into Walmart or Dick's or one of the sporting goods stores. Okay, I think they still have some sort of a Gander Mountain or something up there, maybe a Sportsman's Warehouse, because they did have a Gander Mountain there. You go in and buy a box of 22s. They fill the same paperwork out as if you're buying a gun. Okay, do a background check, and then you got to wait. You pay them, and they set it aside. You come back 24 hours later and get the ammo. Okay, if somebody's determined to do something, this nonsense don't stop them. Okay, and it's crazy. But yeah, you're going to see ammo if they pass these laws. I doubt very much that they will. Good donuts are trail boss. All right, that's good. Well, that's true, but see, the thing is, the weird thing of this about not so much the shipping is you have to do face to face. They're requiring in some states you got to have a face to face transfer, show ID, and then they actually record or keep track of what you're buying. It's kind of ridiculous. It's an unenforceable law, but this is where we all bring in the thing with everything going on and the way the government and the economy's falling apart, and then they want to go to digital currency, and then like one guy was saying, your social standing or something, to where they control what you can buy, can't buy, or whatever. A lot of scary things going on. It's kind of like that's how they catch these guys that were buying guns and reselling them. Uh, when the ATF was saying that they're doing an audit, they're actually going through and seeing who's in there. Like that one guy that started that big thing where he ended up getting in a shootout with the ATF, is he was buying something like 20 or 30 Glocks in a month and 10 AR-15s in a month and all this other stuff. And he was doing this quite frequently. Okay, and that's when they went to go after him. But yeah, you don't want to get caught doing that shit. Yeah, that's right. You were telling me that you can't send parts to California now. Yeah, and that's what it's going. It's like the taxing, just selling anything. It doesn't matter whether it's, like we used to sell a lot of stuff, be it components, parts, gun parts, slings, you know, magazines, whatever the hell, or silver coins, bullion, some of that stuff. I had a bunch of that stuff I was selling online. They got it now. If somebody sends you an electronic payment, okay, I haven't got hit yet on it, but supposedly starting this year, like PayPal, okay, you start sending stuff on PayPal. And even if I tell you, hey, just send it friends and family, accumulatively, once you go over $600, going to get a 1099. Okay. Same with eBay. You sell more than $600 this year. I was lucky. I think it was 2,500 last year. And I sold a few items. I sold like a sword, some bayonets. I forget what the hell. I sold a bunch of that stuff on eBay and some coins. And fortunately, it didn't rack up there. I didn't get sent 1099. But this year, if I go and sell like the sword, the bayonets, all this other stuff, it's about a K, a little more in the end, because they charge you 30%. It's easier to sell on eBay. Your audience is wider. And, if you really ain't got nothing into the stuff, that's where you make out. If you're trying to sell it and make 10, 20%, you're screwed. You got to be making 50% because they're going to take 30% from you. Okay. So selling on eBay ain't no picnic. And if you're going to get a 1099, if you go over $600, I don't see how this site is going to go. I don't see where anybody's making any money. You know, that's why you see some stuff with some ridiculous prices on eBay. You know, it's pretty steep for some things there. But yeah, it looks like the ammunition is going to get. I doubt they can pass that. Uh, with the economy the way it is, it's going to put a lot of people out of business. Certain calibers have been so low and still are, and you know they're at a floor or ceiling or something. Like you're paying 4.5 for 1,000 rounds of 5.56, 55 grain, and I think 9mm you can still get 1,000 rounds for about two, a little more, two and a quarter, 2.5 or something. You know, I think I got 3 cases on the floor there behind me, and you know, but then when I get a bunch of guns and I go out and I shoot 2, 3 boxes through each of them, fooling around, testing them, and I burn up a lot of 9. I got a ton of cases and reload 9mm. You know, at that price, you got to be crazy. I'm thinking of taking all the brass and dumping it in a box and selling it as scrap and get some money that way. Matter of fact, I got to look into doing that sometime this month. All the metals are high, copper, brass, all that stuff. Of course, then some brass is worth way more than that, you know, that they stopped making it. All them old Western calibers, I sold all the extra I have other than the bare minimum and keep a few rounds around for myself. Because I guess during the war or whatever, even Starline, because Starline makes a lot of nice calibers, you know, keep some of these old guns going. But Starline stopped making half their line for a while, and you know, Vectan. Have you ever used Vectan? Yeah, see, getting load data and the foreign ammo. Some of that stuff, the stuff that was coming out of Czechoslovakia, whenever you get the powder that's at fine, super fine, like talcum powder consistent, you got to use a hotter primer. And a lot of the primers, when they were bringing primers in, a lot of these European primers are much hotter for using with that powder. And there were a lot of people using Rex powder, shotgun powder, and Wolf shotgun primers. And these are guys shooting trap and ski with like Perazzi's and this and Krieghoffs that are $15,000, $20,000 shotguns. And what it does is it stresses the cartridge out, not to the point where your gun will blow up, but it peaks that pressure that after a few thousand rounds, weird stuff starts happening. You're either stretching something, or on the break actions, the pin that goes through and what rotates on. I knew a guy had a shotgun. He was an older fella, and his gun was acting up. And what it was, he just fired over the years so many thousands and thousands of rounds that that pin was worn or deformed. So there was a gunsmith that was at a shoot because his gun was acting up. And what he did is he drove the pin out, rotated at 180 degrees, drove it back in, solved the problem. And I think he passed away from old age. There's several fellows I shot with that, well, hell, 20 years ago, they were, you know, retired my age. Um, I don't believe they're with us any longer. It's just their time's up. But yeah, a lot of people uh, that I knew, especially a lot of the dealers around here, you know, they're no longer with us. There's several guys that used to deal with either old antique guns, antique gun parts, or just mill surplus. There's one or two fellows still around um, that I think are younger than me that got into it, you know, and they got good sized businesses or dealerships. But yeah, a lot of the fellows that 20, 30 years ago, the dealers you used to go to a gun show and see all the time, they're no longer with us. And one guy that used to scrounge up the stuff all the time uh, because the price, he still has a whole assortment of bayonets, parts, web gear, this, I mean, a giant thing, but he has very few, if any, surplus guns. That's all he dealt with because I guess people wised up and they were selling him the stuff for 100, 200 bucks, and he was putting a $700 price tag on it. Well, he can't find no fish like that no more. Everybody's pretty wise to what the stuff cost. So yeah. Wow. But yeah, ammunition. It's like we said there, you can't stop it, but the scary thing is they want to uh, control or record how much you buy. Now, what happened with the reloading stuff is all the gun shows, the fire marshal would come in and say you can't display powder and primers. So they put all the guys selling reloading components right out the door. Okay. And that I've seen that in my state happen in several venues, these auditoriums, sports arenas, or whatever, where usually the gun shows are held. They changed the local ordinances and kind of shut down getting any powder or primers at the local shows. Vectan. Noble Sport, French company. Okay, Vectan, Powder Valley, made in France. Smokeless powder. They don't have it listed here. Yeah, see, that's some European powders. But a few bottles, half kilo. Yeah, that square flake, that was done. Actually, it was French ammo, 7 point French Moss rifles. That ammo was that square. I've seen that military rifle ammo, the square flakes of powder. You know, large companies. Yeah, see, because like Say I sell you a friggin' part of some sort, you know, like it's rear sight, okay? That's a part. It's not a gun, it's not controlled, it's a piece. And if I put it on the gun broker, and they say, well, you can't sell gun parts California, put it in a box, how the hell do you know? So it's see, the liability is they're going to sue the people sending the parts and accessory. And if you're a large company, okay, you don't want to do that. See, that's how what's his name got shut down. Hickok 45. His sponsors were these large companies. And YouTube said, well, if your sponsor sells suppressors, this, that, the other thing, then we have to we have to remove them videos. And the thing is, he's another one. He was sponsored by this company, and all of his videos had the sponsorship, and they actually shut. He was one of the biggest gun channels on there. They shut his channel over stupid shit like this. And Swiss. See, I forget what the hell I used in them loads. I did some work on them, but I forget. It doesn't matter who makes it as long as the burn rate is correct. That's the key. Doesn't matter who makes the powder, it's what the burn rate of the powder is and what it's designed to do. You know. Morning, Joe. Yeah, see, you're right. That's the thing. Like figuring out the powder, I get a pound of it, and say, you're using about on average for a full size rifle cartridge, you're using about 40 grains, okay, give or take. And by the time you run 20, 30 rounds and figure out what bullet works and everything else, you're done. And say, okay, I got a load, it works great, it's fantastic. Then you can't find the friggin' powder. Yeah, I've been there. Okay, do you live in a state where it's against the law to have gun parts sent to you? His old channel, yeah. He still makes videos, but he lost his channel for a while. A couple years ago. If you go look for the old videos and that, where he has sponsors, that's all gone. Now, and if you notice, his new videos don't have sponsors or nothing like that. Or he don't mention certain places. Burn rate charts are not a good thing. You have to understand what you know. The thing is, you have to either get the damn software that calculates all that pressures and everything. And I've had some people. I tried running something, but I had some people do it for me, especially with the old antique guns, and they figured out this one powder, and I kind of know what it'll do and what it won't. Okay. But yeah, it's best to get the software and run the burn rates to get that uh, done. Well, see, that's why buying a lot of these parts, you don't know where they get them from. And is it one of the ones that they yanked off of a drill rifle or something? You know, I didn't even know they sold receivers. I know they sell parts, they sell all kinds of weird shit. Yeah, see, that's California and New York are doing that. So yeah, you shouldn't worry about accessibility. I know they've sold a lot of parts and parts kits. Uh, but yeah, I don't know because I know they're doing some stuff there. Have I used the Richmond Labs conical today? No, I haven't. Looks like a yeah, it could be. Yeah. See, if you look, you'll see like Atlantic Firearms will have these deals where they sell these guns and they're getting them from Royal Tiger because they're all they had them on their website. They go buy a stack of them from Royal Tiger, and I think a couple other surplus distributors do it. And I'd be very suspicious of them. I never bought any there. I guess because people feel safer with them. But yeah, I think I'm going to wrap it up, guys. I got some things I got to do today, and I will see you all next week, next Sunday. Hopefully, I'll be able to get some videos up this week and get some stuff done, and my internet problems will go away. All right. Thank you, and see you next week.